This is Mike Finnerty of the Sure West Sports Show, and the following clip has been brought to you by the Sure West Sports Show, airing on SureWestSports.com. We lead off our highlights with the final high school football game of the year as we made our way down to the Home Depot Center in Carson, California, where the Folsom Bulldogs took on the Southern California representative, Serra High School of Gardenia, for the Division II state championship game. Serra came into this game as the defending 3-state champs and riding a 29-game winning streak led by their star and USC-bound George Farmer. For Folsom, they came into this game with their big win over the Grant Pacers in the Division II section championship game and nothing but confidence that they could finish this one off as the state champs. We all know about Folsom and their record-setting senior quarterback in Dan O'Graves, and for Graves and all the seniors for the Bulldogs, this was their chance to put their stamp on high school football history for the Sacramento region. Folsom got the ball to start the game, and what a way to start it off with senior Tyler Trocine taking the game's opening kickoff and returning it 76 yards all the way down to the Serra 14-yard line. Just 2 plays later, it's Graves hitting Trocine on a 7-yard slant for the game's first touchdown in an early 7-0 Bulldogs lead just a minute and 15 seconds into the game. Things only got better for Folsom as the defense stepped up to do their part, shutting down Serra's offense on their first possession, highlighted by this big sack, giving the ball back to the Bulldogs. On Folsom's second possession, they got another big play, this time coming from one of those familiar Graves to Trocine passes, as Trocine takes the pass and goes all the way for what would be a 62-yard touchdown, and all of a sudden the Bulldogs are up 14-0 with 8:14 left to play in the first quarter, and the Serra side of the field was simply stunned. That quick start for Folsom certainly came in handy because Serra took that punch and then countered with a few of their own, and it started with their first score of the game with this 25-yard touchdown pass from Connor Preston to Marquise Lee, where Lee shows some fight, breaks some tackles, and hits pay dirt to cut the Folsom lead to 14-7, and that's how the first quarter would finish up with the Bulldogs up by a touchdown. Serra had the ball to end the first quarter, and when the second quarter began, they went to the air once again with Preston hitting George Farmer this time, and the long play would result in a 66-yard touchdown pass and catch. That would tie the game at 14-all, just 10 seconds into the second quarter. We go now to late in the second quarter where Serra continued their momentum reverse with a 16-yard touchdown run by Shaquille Richard. That would come with 3:17 left to play in the half, and after this missed extra point, Serra would now have their first lead of the game at 20-14. Everything seemed to be going the way of Serra High School, but you can never count out Dan O'Graves. So with Folsom getting the ball at their own 45 with 3:09 left, Graves went to work. Graves had a run that took Folsom to the 44 of Serra, and then a short time later, Graves would go the air again, and this time hitting Corey Babineau, putting Folsom down at the Serra 21. Another Graves pass, this one to Marcus Hendricks, was huge because it got Folsom to the 2-yard line, and then with 56 seconds left on the clock, Graves keeps it himself and dives in for the touchdown to give the lead back to Folsom, this time at 21-20. Serra would miss this 22-yard field goal with just 3 seconds left in the half, sending Folsom to the break up 21-20, making for what could be a very exciting second half of football. After an extended halftime break, it was time for these two teams to get back to business. Neither team could put any points on the board early in the third, but Serra was able to drive the ball down the field, only to see those drives halted by a lost fumble, and then this interception in the end zone by Folsom's Tanner Trocine with a minute 32 left to play in the third. The interception by Trocine would be huge because it would give the ball back to Folsom, but at their own 20-yard line. From there, Graves went to work once again. This time he delivers the short pass to Jordan Richards. He finds some space, and then he is off to the races as he takes this one all the way down to the Serra 35-yard line. From there, Graves would hit Richards once again, taking the ball now to the Serra 24. And then, on this 4th-and-1 play, Graves goes to the quarterback keeper to keep the drive alive, and now just 10 yards from extending their lead even further. The call would be for Graves to keep it again, and this time he takes it in from 1 yard out, and the Bulldogs are back on a roll as they now had a lead of 28-20. Folsom followed the touchdown with yet another big play as the pooch kickoff is delivered, and then the fumble is recovered deep in Serra territory. On the first play, Graves goes to the air and hits Trocine down the middle for a 30-yard touchdown connection, putting Folsom on top, now by a score of 35-20 with 11:07 left to play in the fourth. The onslaught just continued, and on Serra's first play following the Trocine touchdown, Jordan Richards of Folsom comes up with the interception on the deflection, and what's he do? He simply takes it all the way in for the score, and now the route is on as Folsom is up by a commanding 41-20. At this point, players and coaches know that this game is all but done, but it wouldn't be over until Graves hit pay dirt one more time, this for his third rushing touchdown of the night, to go with 3 passing TDs and 214 yards in the air, as Folsom goes on to roll Serra by a final score of 48-20. The dream season for Folsom ends with head coach Chris Richardson accepting the state championship trophy with a chance to show it to his Bulldog Nation. And what more can you say about the performance of Graves, Trocine, and their entire defense, and the guidance of head coach Chris Richardson? There was much to celebrate after the game, but afterward we talked to a few of those victorious Bulldogs, and here's what they had to say.
We just came out and showed that we're the best team tonight. That's all. We're up at the end of the third quarter, and then I scored, and then Jordan got that pick, and we were going crazy. We knew we had it. We knew we had it won, and it was just awesome.
Yeah, that just shows how explosive this team can be. Amazing athletes everywhere on the field, so I wouldn't have any of my records if it wasn't for my offensive linemen. They protected great all year, and amazing athletes at receivers. Todd Trocine, Corey Babineau, Jordan Richards, all going somewhere. So I was blessed.
Dano's amazing. He got better, and I think he put his stamp on. I think what he should be is the state player of the year. He's unbelievable, and I don't care if he's 5'9" or 6'3". There's not a better football player in the state than Dano Graves. We stayed off and tried to limit their big play. We knew that was the key. If we can limit their big play and make them get on drives, they may score a few, but not as much as us. And once we got it rolling, special teams and that second half, we just blew it open.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.